As young as the hardest. It's the hardest and the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. I tell you, like, there is no way. Like, when people ask me, like, "Oh, what's it feel like to be a father?" I'm like, dude, there's no way to, like, I can't really. I don't know if I have the language, like, to accurately express like what it feels like to know this came from me and I'm now responsible for it. Like, and not only that, like, I'm responsible for it, like, for the rest of my life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how you grow up and how you function in the world. Like, that's a part of, like, what I have to cultivate and build myself.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Walk with Drew. My name is Drew Muzan. On today, we have a special guest, my homie from South Kakalaki, father, creative, Deonte Streeter. What's good with you?
What's going on, man? It's good to be here.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to have you. It's been in the making for some time.
Yeah.
I want to say I hit you up like May, June, about doing it virtually. This is when like the pandemic like just kicked off. And,
right.
And Jokers was everybody at the crib. I was like, all right, I'm trying to be respectful of everybody, you know what I'm saying? But it's just
right.
When it comes to the homies, it's just like, you the homie.
Yeah.
I trust you. I trust you. You come to the crib, like I'm not tripping.
Yeah.
But funny story about how me and Deonte met. Shout out to our brother Austin. We met, I want to say 8-9 months ago. It was something like that because I'm like, I know I was in Rock Hill like with some coworkers, and we were out like at a bar because one of them was performing, one of them has a band.
Okay.
And I seen the men's night on Instagram. I'm like, can I pull up?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? He was like, yeah, pull up.
Yeah.
I remember I saw one of your homies was outside. I forget how you pronounce his name. Shout out to him. Gary. How you pronounce him?
Gary. Gary was out there.
Yeah, he was out there. He was outside talking on the phone. I walked inside. And then I saw everybody. I was just like, "Oh, okay. Where's Austin? I'm a random guy. Where's Austin? I don't want to look like I'm random. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's how me and Deonte met. We've been plugged in on social media ever since then. And I've had a chance to see his work as far as creatively and just how much he loves his family and how much he just kind of embraces being a black father. And I wanted to get him on to kind of talk just a little bit about that. So if you could kind of just like go into a little bit about who Deonte is.
Okay. Yeah. So, like you said, I'm Deonte. I was born in Louisiana, Fort Polk, Louisiana.
Okay.
My parents were both in the Army.
Okay. Army brat.
That's how they met. We spent probably like a year in Louisiana, so I don't know any of the places. Don't ask me.
He's like, I'm not
a native, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know where the dopest spots to eat are, where the nicest clubs are, anything like that.
Right.
We only spent like a year there. I spent most of my life in Texas, Killeen, Texas.
Okay.
Moved all over like the southeastern like region. We lived in the Midwest for a little while, so we've been all over the place, man.
Okay, so he's not from South Carolina. He's from everywhere.
I claim it just because I've been here for a while. I've probably been in South Carolina since 2010 ish, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere around middle school.
Okay.
So yeah, man. But yeah, I've been all over. Been in South Carolina for a little while. I have an amazing wife. Shout out to Samara.
Shout out.
And 2 wonderful kids, beautiful kids, Noelle and Naomi. They are all at home right now, trying to stay sane because being in the house all day is starting to take a toll on us, man. I'm telling you.
You're not the only one at all.
Yeah, man. So that's that side of things. I'm a believer, a follower of Christ. I'm a pew baby. I've been doing this for a long time.
Church kid since a stoop.
Yeah, man. Literally, like my parents were in church, and literally, I was born into the culture and everything like that. So I don't know anything else other than that. And then I do videography.
We're gonna get into that.
I do some, yeah. I do some acting.
Some James Earl Jones type stuff too.
Some voice acting as well, yeah. Some voice acting as well. When I was in high school, I used to produce, but I don't.
Produce, like make beats?
Yeah, like make beats.
Word.
Yeah,
You used to get it popping on FL Studio?
I was using GarageBand.
How can you make beats on here? You got to show me because I don't know.
Man.
What? You can make beats on here?
Yeah, for sure. I literally used GarageBand literally like throughout all of high school. I was just making beats just for fun. You know what I'm saying?
Show me.
I had one like serious inquiry from a guy, one of my friends who was a rapper. And I made like one beat for him like one time, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I really like this like that.
Yeah, I had rap dreams at one point in time. Like, never wanted to produce, but I had rap dreams like in college. But then once I saw it, I'm like, okay, so it costs how much to mix a song?
Yeah.
It costs $300 to mix a song.
Yeah, man.
One song,
right?
It's not a package deal.
Right.
Nah, I'm good.
Man. It's a different world. So I haven't done that in a while, but I was looking at possibly getting back in just for fun. Just for fun. Nothing too serious. So don't be hitting me up. You know what I'm saying? Like
Deonte on the beat.
You know, just
got his beat tag ready for him.
Look, man. I don't know, man. I just like to create. Like, I don't really have a preference of what I can do. I see something I like or that I think I can do, and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna try that. Like, you know. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
So how did you get into acting? Because that's one of the things I first wanted to talk about. Because not too many times I haven't met. You're probably like, I want to say the first actor I probably met somebody that actually like been in plays and like did the whole vocal work and everything like that. So how did you get into acting?
So acting for me started out in high school. I didn't really. Well, I'll backtrack. I think when I found out that I was actually passionate about it, I was like probably 4.
Okay.
Right. So like I was living in Texas. My parents, they had Peter Pan on Broadway on cassette. They had it on a cassette tape. I don't know if people probably don't even use VHS
know
no
what
more,
cassette.
but,
y'all ain't even know what cassette is.
But yeah, man, they had it on cassette, and I used to watch it almost every day, literally like 4 and 5 times a day.
Wow.
And I would just sit there and watch, and like I at some point I would like get up and like I'd learn all the songs. I would literally sing all the songs, do all the choreography and everything like that, and act out the scenes in my living room.
Yeah.
And then I kind of died down a little bit. Fast forward a couple years, and you know I'm seeing all these Disney stars, like people on High School Musical and everything like that, and I'm like, yo, this is dope. And I don't like. I just want somebody to feel the way that I'm feeling while I'm watching this.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have the language for it back then, but like I just knew like I want to do that, but I don't know why. But I realize now it was because like I got a feeling from what I was watching.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be able to give somebody else that feeling.
Right.
And so then fast forward a little bit more to high school, it was required that we had some kind of like arts credits or whatever to graduate. Like you had to have, I think, like 3. And so that was like 3 classes back then. And so I took drama 1. I was like, this is kind of cool. Like this is, you know, it's cool. I didn't really think anything of it.
Right. Everybody had drama at one point.
You know, like everybody had to take it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then my teacher, at the end of the year, she hit me up and she was like, hey, like you're really good. Like I want you to come back for my honors courses. And I was like, I mean, okay. Like I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, I didn't really plan on, you know what I'm saying? But she was like, no, like you're really good. Like I want you to come back. And I was like, okay, cool. So I signed up for the musical theater course that following year. That's my junior year. And then I signed up for play performance honors as well. And from there, man, like it was just like, it was a whole different world like opened up to me. Like we actually did a musical that year. I think that year, we did a musical that year. I think that year we did West Side Story, and I got a speaking role in that, and it was really cool. And then it just kind of kept on going.
Right.
From there, like I came back again my senior year, did the same classes again.
Right.
was in more plays, more shows outside of that. Had joined the drama club and everything. Was the drama club president and all this other stuff.
Okay, so you was popping.
Yeah, man. I mean, not
like,
really.
You said yeah first.
Not in that like within my community, yeah. But like in the high school, like the whole thing, like nah, like nobody really knew who I mean, I had a few friends, but you know, it was cool, man. And then I ended up actually going to my teacher's alma mater, which is Winthrop University.
We got some beef because I went to Wingate and that's the real Woo, but I'll let you. I'll let you have.
I didn't know. I seen the flag over there. I was like, wait a minute. Is that Winthrop? Okay, cool. Yeah. But yeah, nah. We kept going into college and everything like that, and started getting serious about it. Like, I mean, I started to believe. Like, I was like, yo, I can actually do this. And there are people, you know, who were, you know, my professors and even my peers were like, yo, like, I think you can go. Yeah. I was like, okay, cool. Like, you know, so I just been kind of along for the ride, man. And it's taken me places. I've done some shows out in Charlotte. Met some really dope people out there. Apparently they're like I was in a show with that they do every year. I don't know if you heard of it, Charlotte Squawks.
No, I have not.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's like a political satire show they do every year at the Blumenthal, and I was able to get on with that. And they're like literally their whole cast is like Charlotte like A-listers or whatever. So they've been doing like theater in Charlotte for years, and I'm like, I'm little old me. I think I was still in college at the time when I joined that show. So I was like, yo, like, this is very intimidating because they're like 40 and 50 something years old, like out here still dancing like they're 20 and something. And I'm like, yo, like, I just started. Like, can somebody show me, you know? So it's been an interesting but really dope ride, very unexpected, but I've gotten a lot of experiences out of it. So.
Yeah, I remember like how you talking about how you felt when like you were like a child, like watching that. Like that's how I felt like 106 in Park.
Word
for me, like watching 106 in Park was like, okay, I want to do that.
Yeah,
don't know, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Don't know how I'm gonna get there, but like that's what I want to do.
Yeah,
and I remember. I was in middle school, elementary school. Disney came to Charlotte looking for like child actors.
Word.
And I wanted to get an acting on time. I used to want to do everything you asked my mom. I used to want to sing. Yeah. I wanted to get singing lessons. My mom heard me sing. She was like, "Nah, you don't need singing lessons. Oh, man. You're not good to do singing or whatever." And but Disney came here. I forget. I don't know how. Whatever. Maybe got connected through my school. But Disney came here. And they were looking for child actors or whatever. I got the script and everything. I forget where we went, someplace in Charlotte, whatever. I was studying it. Yeah. And I remember like going to auditions, hundreds of kids with their parents, like waiting in line to perform or to do the little piece or whatever. I was like, man, my life about to change. I'm about to be a child actor. I'm like, man, I'm about to get on Disney Channel. Like, I'm about to be a child actor. It's on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like how you make up the little fictional stories. Like you 10 years ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I remember going through that auditions. That was the only time. That's the first time I'm talking about that. I ain't talking about that in a long time. But when you said that, it brought that up. I'm like, yeah, I remember doing that.
Yeah.
And I didn't get past to the next round.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I've always had like some type of an affinity with media, with the TV screen, trying to do something. It's just like,
for sure,
just love it.
Yeah.
So like any future goals with that, or are you just going with the flow as it is right now? Like, could we see some skits coming soon?
I don't know, man. I've been kind of thinking about that, mainly because the industry is so. I don't know what word to use. I'm trying to be politically correct. The industry is very
wilding out here.
Right, the industry is very wild, and I don't know if I would be able to maintain a sense of self,
right,
while being in that world. Broadway to me is like the lesser of the two evils. I still see some things culturally there where I'm like, I don't know if I would vibe with that. But as far as like Hollywood and stuff, like it would take like, I don't know, man. I would still kind of, I think I want to go for it still. it looks different now.
Yeah.
Like it looks different versus like someone who doesn't have a family who, you know.
It's the self-awareness in you though, because it's like a lot of people is just like, oh, I'm gonna go for the gusto, but like you like the sense of self-awareness, like it might, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I have more to consider and I have more to lose than somebody who is like single and doesn't have any other responsibilities.
Right.
Like I'm thinking about my wife, I'm thinking about my kids, I'm thinking about like, okay, like do I really want this life for them? Even though they didn't ask for it. Like is it something that, like I said earlier, can I maintain a sense of myself and my morals, my beliefs, and everything like that going into that like arena? Can I even be like? Can God trust me with that? Because that I know myself. Understand what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying like I would go out there and just
no, I would have been a hoe.
You know, and that's the thing. Like even with like married folks, like that kind of stuff doesn't matter out there. Like it's a completely different world, man. It's a completely different world. So I'm like, I wonder what it would look like for me to either go for that,
right,
in a healthy way, or do I create my own arena? You know what I'm saying? Like, do I start writing my own stuff? Like,
and that's what it is.
You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, man. It's like almost like what you see with Kevin on stage. Like, you know,
I was
he's
gonna
like,
bring him up.
Yeah, like he's like doing his own thing,
life.
like literally writing his own skits. I think they got a couple movies in the works right now. Like, he's out in LA, but he's like doing his own thing. Right. So like, he's not depending on, you know, somebody selling him like, oh, well, you don't have the look or you don't have the, because that's another part of it. It's like, do you have the look? Do I believe you in these different roles? Like, can you do these things well? And I don't know if I want to deal with that.
Yeah.
So,
but it's wise of you to think about that, though.
Yeah.
Like, not that many. Like, I say that again, but I'm like, because it's like not that many people think about that. Like, I thought about that too. Like, I remember when I used to want to be a rapper, my mom used to bring that up to me. It's just like, oh, you think you'd be able to handle that? And I used to always like fantasize just about like what that rapper life would be like. And then I'm like looking at it now. I'm 26. I'm looking at it now. I'm like,
it's a different world.
I could do it, but I'm like,
yeah.
Like, do I want to, you know what I'm saying? Can I do it? And then it's just like, what about managing an artist? What if you were managing an artist? It's like, I could manage an artist, but do I really like, I don't want to 3-4 a.m. in the club and have to deal with the girls and all stuff like that. So it's just like, now where I'm at thinking with it now is just like how you said, create your own thing. Like you took the words out of my mouth. Like watching Kev on stage do it, it's like, okay, I can create it myself. I can, you could get as much as you want to handle. You know what I'm saying? When you create it, whereas you're trying to throw yourself in the industry, you have to succumb to like what Hollywood says is dope. Like if I want to be a little chubby, you can't be chubby in Hollywood unless you got a certain look, unless you're a comedian or something like that. You like there's a certain look you got to mold yourself. Yeah, and you can make yourself into an idol or whatever. Versus creating it yourself. It's just like I look how I look. I create my hours. I create this. I create that. I own it. Nobody can tell me otherwise.
Exactly.
So like, and
the culture makes it that way. Like you can't. You have no choice. Like if you go out there, and I mean, and I won't say that everyone out there is just like a heathen or anything like that. Of course but not. I mean, like it's very hard. The amount of self-awareness, but then also like who is around you, like to keep you like accountable, right? Especially living the life that we live, being believers like this. That's something that that was the first thing I considered after like actually being serious in my walk with Christ. Like I was like, yo, like can I not do this? Like can I not be an actor? Like I feel like he's giving me this talent for a reason. Like I have to use it for something. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I don't know. Yeah. I think I know that I'm capable of creating my own space. Right. It's just about, am I willing to do the work? Is that realistic for me with, having a family and still wanting to be a part of that? That was one of the like really powerful things I heard Lecrae say. And I don't know if you watched I watched the documentary. Yeah. It was really good. He was like, yo, like I would rather be a family man fighting to be creative rather than be a creative fighting to be a family man. Right. I was like, God. Like, I hated it so much because I was like, man, like everything in me is like, yo, like I want to go for it. I want to just do it.
Right.
And I'm like, no, I can't. Like I got too much to consider.
Yeah.
And being as young as I am, like I'm only 24. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, everything right now in me is like, no, like be selfish, go for what you want because you're not going to get this time back.
Right.
But then also like there's another part of me that's like, do you want that more than you want this?
Right.
Like there are so many people who have like DM'd us or like hit us up like, yo, like I love what y'all have. Like I want that one day for me. And I'm like, yo, it's cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I guess like when you're living your life and you can't really see it like in full context, like you kind of take things for granted and things like that. So like, I don't know, man, I don't want to do that, you know? So I'm trying to consider all of that while still like saying, okay, well, what am I going to do to give myself some sort of fulfillment in life? Like, how does that, because I don't knock anybody who works a 9 to 5, but I just know me.
It's not for you.
It's not my thing,
Same.
man. I'm not blessed like that. I can do the work if I have to.
Yeah.
But I don't want to. You know what I'm saying?
You want
like
to create all day.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like, and why not? Like, why can't that be, you know what I'm saying? Like my source of living, like my source of income. Like I would rather do that and get fulfillment and know like I'm walking in my purpose because I know without a shadow of a doubt, like this is who God created me to be. Like I want to do that. Like I don't want to be wasting time. Like just like, oh, just give me the next job, or like, just trying to find a way to, stay above water. Like I don't want to do that, man. That's more surviving. I want to live. Like if I only get to do this one time, like let me put everything I have into making this the best experience as I can. You know what I'm saying? So
that's one of the reasons like why I like wanted to wait, like waiting so like I'm 26 and I don't have any kids or anything like that. One, because I haven't had that many options. but two, it's like because I'm like I don't want to be 31. Like I know like a lot of people, and there's no knock to 9 to 5s, no knock to people that are like working or whatever, but it's like I don't want to be that person. I graduate college, I meet the girl of my dreams, get a good job, start working in my purpose, but then get her pregnant, and then I gotta stay there because it has the benefits in the job, and then I never fulfill. And I know so many people like that have had to sacrifice because they met the girl, they got they got married, or they or they're just working, and it's just like I don't want to look back at myself at like 30 years old, and I'm like, bro, I didn't start this content thing. I didn't try to see what was up with trying to get a manager and trying to do the whole, I didn't try. Like, I don't want to, like, by 30, like I told myself, by 30, like, I'm quitting my job. Yeah. If nothing pops off, I'm quitting. I'm doing this full time. Yeah. Even if I fail, I fail. Yeah. I'll go to sleep. I'll go back to corporate with my 2 degrees. I'll go back to corporate, and I'm like, I failed, but hey, I was out there for a good 6 months.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
you
know
what I'm saying?
For
I was out there for a good 6 months. It might have not, it might have not been the best, but at least I can go to sleep.
Yeah, knowing that you actually tried. Like that's the thing. And even my dad, like. I look at my dad, and he's one of my main sources of like inspiration motivation, I should say, rather, because he's now like 54. I think he'll be 54 this year. And I remembered, I want to say this was like maybe a year ago. He came in my room one time. I was home for something. I think I was home for a drill when I was in the Army. And he was like, you ever just feel like you don't have any more time? And immediately I was like, yo, like I was like, dude, like I felt so bad in that moment because I knew what he meant. Like so my dad, when he was my age, he was a DJ out in DC. Okay. So like that was his thing. Like he wanted to DJ. Like he wanted to DJ. Go to the club. Like, and he was good. Like he was really good, and he never stuck with it. I think probably around the time he was like, he had to be like in his late 20s. He was like 28 when he got married to my mom, and then 30 when he had me. And so like once that happened, he like cut everything off. Like he was just done with everything. Like he didn't go. He didn't even keep his turntables. I don't think.
I can't do it.
Yeah, man. And so like now he's like looking back on everything. He's like, yo, like I got. And now he's like doing like this whole like scramble thing of like, oh, I gotta figure out how to do it now. And I'm like, man, you're 50-something years old. I don't know too many 50-something-year-old DJs. Like, you know, no, I'm not knocking it or anything. Like it could still happen, but dang, like, bro, like, I feel for him.
But see, with that though, like that's what I try to tell people. I try to tell like my mom even that too. It's just like you're never too old. Like with certain things, you're never too old. Like I remember I was at my last job, doing I was a sports producer, and the overnight security guard was there. He was like, yeah, you know, back in my day, like he was talking about his son's like an engineer, or whatever like that. You know, back in my day, you know, I met his mom, and you know, I never really got to do what I want to do. I'm like, you know, it's never too late. And he's like, oh well, you know, I'm old, and I'm like, but it like time sometimes, like how you were talking about, like you never feel like it's you never have enough time, or like you're running out of time. It's like a mental construct almost. Sometimes
that's real.
Like it's almost like, because it's like in other aspects, it's just like I'd rather you die trying to do something that you never did, that you wanted to do, and you lose money for it, and you feel fulfilled, rather than you just work the job because, you know what I'm saying, 9 to 5, I got to pay these bills, I got this, I got that. I'd rather you go out and just try to do it. So it's both. It's on both sides. Like I feel them though. Like I feel there's a lot of people like that, but it's just like, why not start now?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Wanted to get into your living with the streeters. So your videography, you out here like you basically like a Young Belief, man. I know that's the guy you look up to, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's my inspiration, man.
So how did you get into like vlogging? Like what made you one day just say, okay, I'm gonna just pick up the camera and start vlogging my family life?
So how I got into videography, like I was actually just making videos with my friends. Like literally, like we were one of my friends, his name is Joseph. Shout out to Joseph one time. He had a production company while we were in college, and I was more so like the talent. Like I wasn't even touching the camera really at all. But that was my first experience with like making videos and stuff. And so like later on in life, like I was just on YouTube. I don't know why. I was on YouTube and I found this vlogger, Peter McKinnon. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know, if you're like a YouTube head, like you know who Peter McKinnon is. Dude was just like, I don't know. It was just the stuff that he was making, like his B-roll and everything that he was doing with his transitions. I was like, yo, that's dope. Like
your transitions are sick too. I downloaded some of them. Downloaded some of mine. I downloaded a free pack. Some of them. I'm like, okay, I had to get my transitions.
I feel you, man. Nah, look, hey, get it how you live, man. I love it. I love it. But nah, like I saw him. And I saw a couple of different people, Jesse Driftwood, like just a bunch of different people on YouTube who were doing this, and I was like, yo, they're dope. Like this is a really dope thing. And probably after like a year or so of just watching their stuff, I was like, yeah, I think I can do that now. Like, I think I'm ready to do that. And I picked up my wife's phone. She had an iPhone 7 Plus.
Hey man, don't hit on the iPhone 7.
My bad, bro.
Hey, don't hit on the 7s, man.
Yeah, she had a 7 Plus, man. That was how I got my start. I did my first video for her. It was a promo video for her vlog, Summer Says. And so that was my first time actually doing a video. And then fast forward a little bit, I had done a few gigs for some people, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get my feet wet. Like it's kind of cool. And then I found out Belief, found Belief on YouTube, and I was like, yo, like this is dope. Like it was just like, yo, like I never seen up until that point, I had never seen anyone black or anyone who had a family on YouTube like that, like actually doing it and doing it in a dope way. Like so I was like, yo, like yeah, like we need to do that. Like and so it started off, I had an idea to just do like at first it was called 1 Minute with the Streeters. This was
I remember seeing that.
This was like way back, feels like almost. And I was like, okay, like we can do a little cooking little video or whatever, just to kind of, just to get my feet wet. It's like a 60-second video. It was nothing too crazy,
The editing must have been crazy on that.
Oh nah, man! It was literally like out of my phone. I had just started like actually videotaping with my phone or whatever, and I mean it was trash, man. It was trash. It was trash, man. I was like, yo, like we could do this. Okay, cool. And then from there we were like, okay, well no, we need to make like sound better. Like 1 minute with streeters sounds weird. So we were like, okay, 60 seconds with the streeters. We got the alliteration thing going on. Okay, cool. Okay. We can do that. And then we had started doing those videos more, and it was like, it's not making any sense because our videos aren't 60 seconds. And that, at first, it was kind of cute because it was like, okay, cool, like, haha, like, it was like our thing. Like, we're always going to go over 60 seconds or whatever. But, like, then it was like, this doesn't make any sense. So I was like, we just need to start doing more long-form stuff. We just need to start doing vlogs and stop being scared. And so I was like, all right, cool. Like, we're gonna start doing it. And literally, like, it was rough. Like, our first one was like, it was just like, yo, like, we're just gonna go out. And I think it was right when quarantine started was when we're kind of like, okay, cool. Like, I think we have a chance now that we can't go anywhere. Like, we have a chance to kind of be creative, like, and use our time wisely. So I was like, okay, cool. We'll just take the camera, we'll go for a walk, and we'll just talk. And that's what we did. Like, our first video is literally us walking around our apartment complex, just talking to the camera, updating everybody on everything that's going on with us. And from there, it just kind of was like, all right, cool. It just kind of took a life of its own.
Eat that stuff up.
It just kind of took a life of its own,
People
man.
Eat that stuff up.
Yeah,
bro.
And it's weird because like it's so mundane. Like,
camera mic down for me a little bit.
Oh, right here.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, like it's so like it's so mundane. Just thinking about just like regular life. It's like, yo, like I didn't think that. I was like, yo, we have to have something interesting. We have to have something like to capture people because
that's why I haven't started yet.
Yeah, man.
That's exactly why I haven't
and that's
started
the thing. That's why we hadn't started either. Because it was like, well, the most we're ever going to be able to do is these little 60-second videos. Because I mean, nobody's going to watch 10 minutes of us just chilling at the house, like But I don't know, man. I guess people are bored. This is probably one of the most like perfect times to start a YouTube channel because everybody's at home. Like, everybody's just chilling. Like, nobody has anything to do. Everyone's just streaming stuff. So like, we started and it's been dope, man. It's been really dope. I've learned a lot about myself from this whole process and a lot about that whole like tension of like trying to figure out how to be a creative with a family.
Talk about that. I want to hear about that.
That's one piece, man, that I haven't quite gotten all the way down yet, man. Because I mean, even there was one time, man, where it was so bad. Like, it was so bad. Like, my relationship with my wife was starting to suffer. My relationship with my kids, man. Like, it was just, it was really, and it was me. Like, it wasn't like the work was too hard or like it was just too rough or whatever. It was me. I was like trying to edit videos during the day and everything like that, which of course left more of the weight on my wife to kind of take care of the kids and everything like that. So there was tension there. There was tension like where she sometimes needed a break. And I'm like, I'm trying to work on the video. I'm trying to get this video done. Like, trying to be consistent, trying to get monetized, trying to do this full time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got to get this stuff done, man. Like, I got to meet these deadlines. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it almost, to be real, almost drove a wedge between our marriage to where we were like, bro, we're trying to call it quits. Like, like it had me thinking, and this is recent. Like, this happened recently. Like, there was some times where we were like, yo, like, we would be better apart. Like, this isn't what I want. I think like there was like this whole like argument of like, I don't think that this is what you want anymore because you. Like you're so like one track minded when it comes to this stuff. Like you're like, yo, like I gotta get this stuff out. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And it's like we were talking about earlier, like feeling like, I'm 24 years old. Like this is the time where I'm supposed to be selfish. I'm supposed to be going out and getting the things that I want.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that whole tension was just starting to kind of like it was literally driving a wedge between me and my wife. And so I had to do the hard work of like, and I'm still in this process now of like grieving, not only like grieving the idea of who I want to be, but like also like grieving the idea of who I thought I already was. Like I was like thinking to myself, like, I'm the family man. I'm the guy who like wants to be married and wants this and wants that. And I'll be a great husband. I'll be a great father. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew that, you know, even at a young age, like, and I always thought that I was that guy. And then I get to this place in life and I'm like, I don't think I'm that guy. Like, I don't think I'm the guy that is like 100% just always like gonna be like, you know, rubbing my wife's feet every day, like, you know, always wanting to play with the kids and always doing this and always doing that. Like I don't think I'm that guy, and I had to grieve that. Like as a husband and as a father, I am not him. Mm-hmm. And I think there was so much freedom in that because it then gave me space to be like, who am I? Okay, well, not only who am I, but like I don't have to be held to this standard anymore of perfection. That's really unrealistic to begin with. Like that's the thing that really shook me to my core, was that I thought that I was that, you know, that was a part of my identity, was being like, wanting to be like the perfect husband and the perfect father.
Right.
And then realizing like, I will never achieve that. Yeah. Like that is so out of my reach.
It's social media, man. Like I think a lot of times too, like what you saying, you were 24, like you're 24 and you're trying to do it. Like that's how I feel. Like I feel that sometimes at 26, I feel like my wave has passed me by. But it's just because we have access to social media and we see hundreds of other creatives that are popping at 25, 26. Yeah. And it's just like, one, we don't know the hell that they go through off the camera.
Exactly.
But then like trying, like how you say, okay, I got to get monetized. You don't know, they're probably running themselves ragged. Trying to do that or whatever. And it's just like we're trying to get there, and it's just all made up. It's just like we just have to follow our hearts and just like be led by God. Like when it comes to like, okay, what does creativity look like for the Christian? What does creativity look like for me? You know, at my pace, and then just be resolved in the fact that like one thing my homie Dave, he said this on like the first time I interviewed him. He was like, I'm gonna be doing this forever, so why am I rushing? Yeah, like because I would always ask him, I'm like, why are you like putting out mug or t-shirts on the stuff and you only get like 2 people buying it or a couple of people like rocking with it, and it's just like, why not give them an opportunity to interact with it? Why not like do that? You know what I'm saying? Like why not, even if 2 people buy it or whatever, like why not? Like, and my whole thing is like, no, I gotta blow up first, and then I gotta get a following, and then all stuff like that, and it's just like at your own pace. But like, I feel that though, like it's crazy, like how. So do you think belief has something to do with that? Like in terms of like the perfect, trying to be like, was it trying to be like him a little bit, or?
I think it was more so like, like I think that in a sense, like I was like, he's so good, like I can do that, right? Like, and it was so trash, like, and it was like even just the stuff that we would do like on camera, I was like, I don't know if I'm trying to be as real and as authentic as I can be, but like I because I'm holding myself to this standard, like I don't think that it's coming off or that it's reading well, like on the other side of things. But then also when the camera was off, it was like a completely different vibe, and I was like, well, that's not how this should be, like, and then looking at his stuff, I'm like, yo, he's messing up in front of us. Like, like he's like screwing up in front of us. Like, and it's some of it is like, it's really bad. And it's like, I feel like when he turns the camera off, like it's going to be the same. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I don't know, man. It was, like I said, I really had to sit there and just grieve, like the idea, like having to let go of that idea of who I thought I was supposed to be, who I thought I was already, and really freeing myself up from that, because it's like, yo, like, it's like what, like you said, what Dave said, like, I'm gonna be doing this for the rest of my life. Not only that, but who did God make me to be? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and how can I rely more on him to kind of fill in the gaps where I'm like completely just trash, like completely trash. It's like there are some things as a father that I'm just really trash at, and as a husband. And
I think it's healthy to admit that. Like, transparency, like I always say, transparency. There's deliverance in transparency.
Yes.
So
for sure. And so like that's where I'm in that process. Like even like today, like I'm in that process of like accepting who I am now. And then also, like I said before, making more space and leaving more space for God to kind of, you know, fill in those gaps where I'm falling and failing. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. Like all before, I feel like I was more so just like, I guess, depending on myself to kind of maintain this life and do all the things that I'm doing. And I'm just now getting to a place where I feel like I'm like, all right, God, like you gave me all of this, like my talents, but then also my family. So how do those two things coexist? Like, how does that work? So,
like, you ever feel like uncomfortable? Like, are you feel like you're in an uncomfortable like spot? Like they always say, you know, you grow in uncomfortable places. So you feel like it's an uncomfortable like spot that you in.
Man, if ever, like, you know, even like what we were talking about before, where like we're not in church right now, like that's very uncomfortable. Just because like I said, I was born and raised in the church. Like I'm the type where like, nah, like you don't miss a Sunday, like kind of thing. Like you make sure you have your clothes pressed and stuff and laid out in the morning so you're on time. All of that. Like that's where I come out of.
The Vaseline face.
Right, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like got a crease in your pants. Like my parents taught me I was probably 8 or 9 and I knew how to put a crease in my pants. I was ironing my own clothes. Military family, right? So this is a standard. This is how you step out of our house when you go to church. So, yeah, man, that's what I came out of, and now it's like I'm not there, and I have nobody else to rely on. Like literally, all I have now is just me and God. Like, all right, so how are we getting through this? You know what I'm saying? And yeah, like I'm in that space of like trying to figure out like, okay, how does all of this work together? And I don't know.
That's content right there.
Yeah. Like really, honestly. And so I don't know, man. I don't know where he's going to take it, or if it's going to be a thing where he's like, all right, well, maybe you just take a break for a little while and just kind of dial in and tap in and focus on me. I don't know. I'm just.
But you never know, like how big the impact is too. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. You never know how big the impact is. Like sometimes, like lately, I've been getting a lot of people like messaging me about that, and it's just like you thinking, man, I'm trash, man. Ain't nobody looking, like because you're trying to get the success because your eyes are focused on the Kev on stage and the belief or whatever like that. So you're like, man, these little 86 views, 50 views is nothing.
Be
man.
hurt.
Like it'd be like
I keep you hurt.
Yeah, like man, these is nothing. But then it's just like you get the DMs and you get the people saying that. It's just like you're actually like behind that veil, you know, you're actually doing like making more of an impact than you think you are. So.
Yeah, man. I learned that really quick because we probably had like, we were probably getting like 100 to 200 views on all of our videos. And my wife was telling me like, that's huge. Like you're sitting here looking at these people who have been doing YouTube for like years, got like millions of subscribers. Like, you're like, you don't actually realize like you're so focused on that image, that picture of like what success is. You don't even realize that you have it already, like within your community, like and that's where it matters the most. Yeah, that's where it matters the most though. Like having the people around you, like having that support, like that's how it gets out. Like you know what I'm saying. And so yeah, man, I've had to learn the hard lesson of like being content with where I am.
I'm still learning that thing.
thing
Because
is
God, I want 1 million, man. What you mean? Not, and it's not even only like at the end of the day. Like when I sit down and think about it, I'm like, okay, Drew, do you want like people talking about? Oh, I want to be a billionaire and 100 millionaire. I'm like, okay, one, not to burst your bubble, but you gonna have to be like, and not to for all the woke folk. You know what I'm saying? Be a billionaire as a black man is very hard, very hard. But you know the type of elite circles that you probably would have to run in if you were, even if you made it independently. You know how many the elite circles that probably would be after you if you made a billion. But that's beside the point.
Yeah,
it's another
man.
conversation.
Right.
But then it's just like $1 million. Okay, do I want 1 million or do I just want my bills on auto drive?
Yeah.
Or do I, you know what I'm saying? Am I fine with just my regular Honda and my bills on auto draft? Am I able to? And that's what I've said at times. I'm like, man, if I could just like travel when I want to, you know what I'm saying, pay my bills on time and have peace. Yeah. I'm straight.
Yeah.
It's just like trying to get that like realistic goals. Like what are the realistic goals that you want? Like let's go after that. Let's not go after the 1 million subscribers. Cause you don't know how you know. Like I had made a video of talking about like this experience that I had about Joe Solomon. And I used to admire, like, I used to be like, man, he get all the girls, like, all these girls keep flocking him after this show or whatever. And I'm like, guys, like, do you want that? You sure you know the type of stuff he probably got to deal with?
Like, he probably doesn't even want that.
Yeah, he probably don't even want that. And it's like, you want that. And it's just like, it's like, it looks good over here, but it's just like, the stress, other side of it. It's just the other side of it. It's always another side.
Everybody always is like, oh yeah, grass is always greener, but the maintenance.
That's a word.
The maintenance, bro.
That's a word. That's a t-shirt.
Bro, high key.
The grass is always greener, but
the maintenance, bro.
The maintenance, that's a word.
It's completely different, bro. Yeah.
That's a word.
Bro,
when you think about superstardom, you don't think about the maintenance.
No. Not at all, man.
You just think about the glitz, glamour, and the money, but it's just like, how much does it cost to maintain that money? How much does it cost to maintain all that stuff?
And not even like money wise, but like peace wise, like your mental like health, like you're sacrificing a lot. Your privacy, like that stuff matters.
And that's another thing, like getting into like when it comes to your family, like with me. I know the type of stuff I want to do in terms of this content, and I know like I might rough up some feathers. So I want my privacy. I'm probably gonna have my kids like you'll probably be one of like 50 Facebook friends I have on a private Facebook, right? And I lock it down, and that's where the picture of the kids go. But like on my Instagram, would just be me and my wife, like and whatever heck I'm doing, like that. So about like talk about that, like. Being like it's private. You letting jokers in your home. You see your kids in the most intimate state. How are you dealing with like this the privacy aspect? Does that faze you at all? Do you think about that at all, or is it just like to the glory of God, or like how do you think about that?
Nah, I don't really think about it like that. I know my wife does because she's. I don't know. She's just paranoid by nature. Like that's just how she is. And so she's the kind of person where she's like, I don't understand why all these people out here go and they buy a house and they take a picture in front of it where everybody can see your house number. Even if they can't see your house number, they see what your house looks like.
Me and her on the same page.
See what your neighbor's house looks like. They see all these different things.
We took a photo of this house on my Facebook when we got it back in like 2010, and I deleted that thing a couple years ago. I'm like,
why did I do that?
Why did we do that? My mom doesn't have a Facebook.
Yeah.
But like she wanted to like I guess show our family. But I'm like, I'm deleting that because somebody could. I'm with her because that's how I feel. I'm like, you're showing your kid's school shirt, and I can zoom in and pause it and see your kid's school shirt, and then you say something wild, I can come visit your kid at your school.
Right.
Like, I'm not with that. So
man, it's deep, bro, and that's the thing. Like even thinking about that now, like I'm not too paranoid because I'm like I have a certain
he said
level.
He got a gun. He said he
got a gun. He know, I'm waiting to get that until we actually get a house. But for right now, I'm kind of dependent on like my hands because that's all I got. But I know like it's just like what Toby said in the interview, man. I know what I'm willing to die for. You know what I'm saying? So if it comes to that, it comes to that. But it's deep. Like even with like belief in his YouTube stuff, like they shut down his comments because of the whole like I think there's like a thing now on YouTube where like they talk in code. Like if you're someone who shows like your children and stuff, like there are sick people out there who will literally talk in code in your comments, and they're like sex traffickers, and they're trying to locate, like trying to figure out all your stuff. And so YouTube, out of like, I guess I don't know if they were. I think that's what they were doing under his comments. And YouTube, out of like protection for them, was like, yeah, we're going to shut your comments down because we don't want that kind of stuff happening. That's why you can't comment on his videos anymore.
That's crazy. I didn't. Yeah. One, I don't really watch his channel like because of the context. I'm not that adjacent to children yet,
feel you,
so I don't really watch his content because I ain't got none yet. Yeah. So, but that's crazy. Like talking in code on.
Yeah.
See, and that's the thing. It's just like I can't because somebody
the world
die,
that we live in.
So.
Yeah, the world that we live in now is just like it's sad, man. Like you can't have any source of privacy like at all. Like even on the web, like I'm not into a huge like conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but I do believe like they be listening for sure. So I'm like, man,
talk about hot wings on my I'm talking to you about hot wings. 5 minutes later, it's gonna be a hot wing ad on Instagram.
Facebook. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, man, I try not to worry my head too much about it because I mean, ultimately, like, there's still a market for what we're doing.
Right. Always be a market.
Yeah. And so like I don't think about it too much, but there's always that thing in the back of my mind that's like, if someone were to ever like try, what are you gonna do? Like what kind of systems do you have in place? And so like I'm a decent shot. I've been in the military for a while. I've been in the military. I did military for like 6 years. So like I'm a decent shot, so if I need to go get a gun, like I will go get a gun. I know how to use it.
But just in general, not even just talking about like somebody trying to take your kids or do something to your kids, but just like privacy in general, like sharing your kids like online. Like there was never like any like that. Like you never like, because like with me, it's just like even when it comes down to like girlfriends, it's just like I'm not posting you to. I'm engaged to you, but that's a whole other conversation. Some people don't.
Yeah, I feel that.
But so it's just like always. It's just like personal. Keep personal things personal. But I wasn't even talking about just like security reasons, just privacy in general. You never like just thought about just like.
Yeah, man. I think there's
to the industry.
I think there's certain things like that should be like. I won't say censored, but like not shown, of course, on camera, just for the sense of like of like sacredness, like with your family and stuff like that. Everything's not for everybody to see,
right?
And so like if it's why it's hard. It kind of I don't know. That part of it does kind of make it hard though, because it's like. If me and my wife have an argument one day, I don't want to record nothing. Like, I'm not trying to do any content. So that kind of
that's how I be feeling about like doing like fake content.
Yeah,
you having a bad day, you feel like a bad day. Nothing,
man. Yeah,
that's why you don't be seeing that much fake content from me, because it's like I'm in that season. It's just like not like a bad season, but it's like I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, that's when it comes to like doing this content thing. Like, okay, which lane you gonna go down? Because you go down one lane, it's just like they gonna be expecting that from you all the time. But it's just like, what if you're not feeling it?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what that looks like to like balance that though. Like, because even belief, like even on his wife does a podcast called "How Married Are You?" and on there they be going in like, and sometimes they be going in on each other, and I'd be like, yo, like. Y'all really doing this right now on the podcast. Like, we hear this like and can see it on YouTube. And I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if there's a healthy way to do that. I don't know. I just know that when we get into it, I'm like, yeah, nah, we ain't doing no content today. Which kind of takes away from the realness of it and authenticity of it as well. But I still think that there's a certain level of it that's like, yeah, like this needs to be just us. Like when it gets down and deep, like, nah, we need to turn these cameras off. We need to, just sit down, just me and you, and we just need to talk, like kind of thing, for the health of our marriage. And I don't think that definitely don't think that every moment is a on camera moment. So I'm still trying to figure that whole thing out and what that looks like for us. But yeah, man, it's a different beast.
So, like, when it comes to like your black father, like, how important is it, like, in your showcasing how you raise your children? Like, how important is it to you to just like try to change that narrative about how black fathers are like viewed, whether it's via media or just in general? How important is that to you to try to change that narrative?
Oh man,
through the vlogging.
It's everything, man. It's one of the sole reasons why I started doing the whole vlog thing to begin with is because I'm like, yo, like, belief is a great example, but like we need more. Like I want that to be like a normal thing, like in the world, like where we're not. It's not that I think there's like numbers now. I don't know the actual statistics, but I've been hearing that like the numbers for as far as like black fathers being in their homes have actually started going up.
Oh wow!
And so I'm like, we still need to see it though. Like it's great that that's happening, but we need to see it. And so like, what does that look like for me to contribute to that? Is like, okay, well, we're just gonna keep doing the vlog stuff, and like, it's so important. Like it's so important because I mean we all know, and it's not a secret now. Like there is a narrative about what black fathers are and who we are and everything like that. And I have a very strong conviction within myself to say like, no, like we have to fight back against that. And what does that look like? Like that to me, that looks like more than just being present, but like actually being present. Like not just like, oh well, I'm here, but showing up like for my kids, like emotionally showing up for my wife, and being able to capture those things on camera to show people like, yo, like this is what our life is actually like.
Right.
Like we're not all out here just wilding and doing all the I mean, and no diss to anybody that does that, like get how you live or whatever, but this is what we're doing over here. And this is how we contribute to, I guess normalizing a normal black life.
Right.
Like it's not all trauma. It's not all, all these other things that the media and everything else tries to push onto us. But like, it's really just normal. Like we just be in the house chilling. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't out here like doing no drugs and like we just chilling. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, man.
If you had to give me like one word about, or one phrase about your experience as a black father thus far, what would it be?
Hard, man. As young as it's the hardest and the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. I tell you, like, there is no way. Like when people ask me, like, "Oh, what's it feel like to be a father?" I'm like, dude, there's no way to like. I can't really. I don't know if I have the language, like, to accurately express like what it feels like to know this came from me and I'm now responsible for it. Like, and not only that, like I'm responsible for it, like for the rest of my life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like how you grow up and how you function in the world. Like that's a part of like what I have to cultivate and build myself. Like that's scary. Yeah. Like it's scary. And then I think the biggest part of it that's hard and scary for me is that when you're parenting, like it's like you're literally like you have a mirror held up to you the entire time. Like it's like throughout your days, throughout like the stages of parenthood, like it's like a mirror is held up to you all the time. Like and it's like they're constantly showing you like who you are, like and not and you don't even like. It's like I thought, you know what I'm saying? It's going back to what we were talking about earlier about having to grieve and acknowledge the loss of like who I thought I was. And I'm like, yo, like I'm gonna be so patient with my kids. I'm gonna be this with my kids. I'm gonna be the fun dad, cool, yada yada yada. Yeah. Get into it, and I'm like, yo, like get away from me. Like this is trash. Why are you crying? Why can't you tell me what you want? I know you're only 1.5, but tell me what you need. Like so, like it's rough, man, because they show you like who you are. They really do. They show you all of it, and it's the same way with marriage, man. Like all of it literally is like there's a mirror like over their face, and they're constantly just projecting who you are, like, and you have to deal with that. Like, you have to wrestle with that and be able to acknowledge it. Like, I am still in that process of like, like I'm not the best father. Like, I am very impatient. I'm very like very much so like I need my space, and my son has no sense of self-awareness whatsoever.
Right.
So he's just always climbing up on me and stuff. And then so there's sometimes where I like it, and I just, I let him play or whatever. And other times I'm like, bro, get off. I need my space. Like, and so yeah, man, like it's the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing. It's so hard, and I think that people don't want to have the self-awareness that comes with that, because that means now I have to do the work.
Yeah.
Like
That's real.
That's the hard part, man. It's like doing the work of like actually becoming a better human being.
Right.
Within marriage and then within parenthood as well. Like it's rough. Like there's work associated with it that, I mean, even in like we go into counseling now. Like it's like having to go back and see why you are the way that you are, like how the trauma and things that you may have experienced as a child have kind of groomed you into who you are now, and having to go back years and dig up old stuff, and it's exhausting. Like,
it is exhausting.
It's an exhausting thing, even just talking about it. Like it's rough, but at the end of the day, like you have to decide, okay, like do I love my family enough to actually do the work every day? Like, is this every day? It doesn't stop. Like, the work never stops. Like, and so, yeah, man, I would say it's probably the hardest and the scariest thing, especially living in the times that we're living in now with everything going on. Like, I have a son, and not only that, I have a daughter. Like, because I mean, let's not we put so much emphasis on like, oh, well, black men are out here dying, but black women are out here dying too. Like that's not So like I have a daughter and I have a son. Both of them are black, and I don't know what that talk is going to be like. I don't know. I'm dreading the day. Like I really am. I remember like when we first found out that we were pregnant, because my wife wasn't supposed to be able to have kids.
Oh wow.
They said that her uterus was misshapen or something like that, where she wouldn't be able to carry full term. And so when we had our son, I remember thinking, like, the first time I held him, I was like, oh my God, like, one, that I've never seen anything more perfect in my life. But then number two, like, he's black, like, and he's living here in America, like, what does that mean for him? Like, I'm thinking about all those things, and I'm like, dude, like it's different. It's heavy, because I'm already on the edge about myself. Like, I could leave here and something happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, God forbid, but that's real. Like that's what we're living in now. And now I have to think about somebody else that could, like, man, it's hard, bro. It's hard, but there's so much joy that comes out of it too. Like, just, being able to, like, play with them and be in these stages of life with them. Like, yeah, man. There's some good stuff there as well.
All right. So, you were talking about how you're raising two black kids, and everything. A lot of things nobody's a stranger to what's going on in the country. A lot of things have been happening. A lot of black lives have been taken. Yeah. And most recently, it's been George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. And the George Floyd, like, his death was like, I wouldn't say started it off, but kind of a tidal wave in terms of support for black people, everything like that. And you decided to create a video, kind of necessarily, would you call it honoring, or just like expressing how you felt about about how he died.
Yeah, that was more so what it was, just kind of expressing how I felt. Yeah.
So could you kind of talk to me just about like the emotions behind creating it, like getting in those positions? Like, bro, I saw you on the ground.
Yeah, man. It was
heavy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, get into that for me.
Yeah,
the
for
whole
sure.
video.
For sure. So the whole thing, it came about when, of course, when the day that he died, I saw the video, and I remember my wife and my son were gone. My daughter was asleep in the back, and I was sitting there watching the video, and I was like, "Yo, like, there's no way, there's no way." And I immediately, like, I saw, like, I was completely undone. And my wife had pulled up right around the time where I had just finished watching the video, and I was crying. She came up, and I was trying to clean myself up, and she asked me what was wrong. And I couldn't say anything. Like, all I could muster up to say was, they did it again. They did it again. Like, they got him. Like, I did it again, and I just broke. And she literally dropped everything and came running over to me, and she wrapped her arms, and I wept. Like, I boo-hoo cried like a baby. And I was like, yo, like, why does this keep happening? Like, it took me back to when they murdered Alton Sterling. That was when I had my first, like, awakening, I guess, to what the world actually was and how we were viewed. Because I mean, I went to a predominantly white school. Like, I was,
we gotta get into that.
You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna.
Yeah. So, like, in college and in high school, like, I was at a predominantly white school, and so, like, my worldview was completely different than what it is now. I'd always been kind of blind to, even with the whole Trayvon Martin thing. Like, I was really I was like, yeah, like, that's really sad. Like,
that was it. That was it. That's all I could get out of me.
I was just like, yeah, that's really sad. Like, that should never happen to someone. But it didn't click for me that was how they had always been treating us. You know what I'm saying? And so when our whole Alton Sterling thing happened, I same reaction. It was just almost mirrored the same. As soon as I saw it, it was like a part of me just died, like, literally. And I was like, oh my God, like, and I wrote a poem about that as well. And so with this one, I was just like, yeah, like, I was just completely, I didn't know what to do. Like, I had no idea what to do. We came out of that moment, and the rest of the day, it was just, my whole day was shot. Like, I couldn't find anything to laugh about. I couldn't find anything to be happy about. I was just like, I don't know. I don't know what to do with this. Like, it was just heavy the rest of the day.
I want to go back to, you were just saying, like, how you kind of grew up white adjacent a little bit, and that's how it was for me. I didn't grow up white, but just like, I grew up in a predominantly black context my entire life.
Yeah.
But from a black Republican, nothing against black Republican, but from a black Republican context, where in church context, where your color is viewed second and not fully black, fully Christian. It's you're Christian first. It's how I've always taught. So when I see these deaths, Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, all these guys, it's just like, man,
that's
continue with life. It's just like, that's crazy. But then it's just like, it wasn't until I started going, like a year ago, when I started really getting into understanding, like, our plight as black people, and like understanding all this stuff. And then the church I started going already, and starting the sermons, the topics we would talk about, and it's just like, yo, we really, like, they really doing this. Like, and then it didn't really like hit me until George Floyd.
Okay.
So like, that was the moment where it's just like,
yeah.
And then see how churches were responding and how other Christians were responding. And it's like, that's when it hit me. It's just like, yo, I'm black.
Black.
I'm black.
For sure.
Yo, like, for I'm black. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, man. So like, it was like, it was rough. Like, it was just like, man, like, I don't know what to do. it was just like this heaviness of like, like I had been kind of in this space for probably like 5 or 6 years after I was in Sterling, Philando Castile, and all of them. That was my moment. After that, I was kind of living in this space, but I hadn't really heard too much about anybody else after them up until George Floyd. And I was just like it's 5, 6 years later and we're still here. Like how? And so we went to bed that night, and I got up early that morning, and I was still feeling the same. It was just heavy, and I was like, man, like what can I do? And I typically lean on my writing. I wouldn't call myself a poet.
He's a poet, yo. He's a poet.
I enjoy writing. In a poetic style, and so
I like how you played it. Like I enjoy writing, putting words together. You know what's that called? Poetry. Oh, I didn't even know it. I didn't even know it.
Right. But yeah, so I woke up that morning and I just went up. I grabbed my my little pad or whatever, and I was like, all right, let me just write something down. Maybe that'll help me out. And I just wrote from the perspective of seeing it happen, seeing the video, and my experience with that. And I think the goal of it was just to express my sorrow and my grieving in it. And then I put it out because I was like, no, I think people would benefit from seeing this, because I think more than many people will actually admit, I think that's what's happening behind closed doors. Like before we even hit the street, like there's a grieving that happens, and you don't get to see that because most people grieve in private. And a lot of people's grief looks different. Some people's grief does look angry, and it does say, no, I'm going to take to the streets and we're gonna protest. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Other people's grief, there's like an actual, like just like deep, like sadness and sorrow, but you never see that side of Black people in general, because there's such a I want to say almost like a linear or like one-dimensional image of who we are and what we're, and like there's no room for like us to be emotionally like complex or like nuanced in any way, because it's like this is just what Black people are. And right. Especially when it comes to this, like they're just angry and they're just irate and they're just tearing stuff up and they're just doing this and
nobody understands
that. You know what I'm saying? Like right. they don't get to see like, yo, like this stuff hurts us. This stuff is like, and that's the thing about our people, is that we take such ownership over each other. Like when one of us dies, like we feel that. Like, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like,
I think since we have like no choice too.
Yeah.
Like, we feel like we gotta stick together. Like when you go meet, when you get in the workplace and see somebody else, we only 2 Black people, we gotta stick together.
I see like, you, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I see you over there. Like, hey, we gonna meet up for lunch. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like it's a different thing where it's like we have a kind of ownership over our people, and then you know our counterparts are more like, there's like this whole idea of individualism, and it's like, oh well, he could probably see somebody look like him die and not even flinch an eye, like, oh, right. Well, sad that happened to him. Okay, cool, going about my day.
Right.
But yeah, man. So I wanted to showcase that. I wanted to show like, no, like there is complexity in how we feel and how we deal with trauma and how we deal with things. Right. We experience sadness the same way everybody else does. We experience mourning and grieving, and I wanted to kind of put that on display to say like, hey, like, this what you guys see and what people and what the media tries to say about us when these kinds of things happen, like that. Well, we get into the specifics of that and how that a lot of that is like not true. But then also like there's this other side of it where, you know, we're really like mourning these deaths. Like we're really like torn up and right. And there's so much to it as far as like the emotional side of it, like just, you know, feeling like the fear, feeling like anxiety about just being like who you are, like just like not even like we're sitting up in a really nice house. You're creative, like you're like dope at what you do, but like you can't just exist in that space because of this. Like that's something that is it's anxiety. It's like conducive for like anxiety and just all kinds of different things that, you know, it's hard to kind of navigate through. And so like I just wanted to say, hey man, like this is a part of who we are. Like this is how we're dealing with this stuff. And it's not to say that, you know, oh well, the people who are angry are wrong, because like that's justified. Like our anger, I feel like, is justified for sure. But there's also another side of it as well.
And people don't think that. Like, I remember when all the looting and stuff was going on, I was having several conversations with like white counterparts and people that I knew, and they were just like what's going on, or oh, it doesn't make sense to, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, imagine, like, this is the same scenario I gave each and every person. I'm like, imagine you're a child who's haven't been heard in 400 years, haven't been heard, nobody has listened to you in 400 years or ever. So not even in 400 years, but in your 400-year existence, nobody has ever, in this country, nobody's ever listened to you or give you equity, not only equity, but equality. Nobody's giving you that. And then something happens to one of their own. What's going to happen? They're going to throw a tantrum. You're not going to know. You're going to think, oh, it doesn't make any sense to burn down a building. Yeah, but you have to understand the heart. And it's like, yo, we hurting.
We're hurting.
We are
bad,
tired.
Man. Yeah.
So the repercussions, of course, I don't agree with like burning down buildings, but do I get it?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, I get it. I understand it.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
with you. I get it.
For sure.
So I'm not gonna knock you and say, oh, they're thugs. And we're children who have not been heard in a long time, and we're hurting.
Yeah.
And you need to hear us. And if you're not gonna hear us, you're gonna feel us. And that's that's the tip we on. You know what I'm saying? That's the tip we on. Like you gonna feel us.
Yeah. And there's a I think there's a part of that that's healthy too. Like even with the people expressing their anger. Like, I mean, I don't know, like, and I might get in trouble for saying that, but I just feel that way. Like, I think that, yeah, like, what else are we supposed to do? Like, what else can we do? Like, you know, it's like that shirt that has been going around, like everyone's, or what was it? Something about, we march, y'all mad. We kneel, y'all mad, but we die, y'all silent, or whatever, or something like that. It's like, yo, like, I don't know what else. I don't know what else we can do. Yeah. And so, like, like you said, I don't knock any of the people who are out there, you know, looting and stuff and all this other stuff. Like, I get it. Yeah. I get it. And then you hear, you know, there's other people that are saying, oh, well, the white man taught us this. Like, this is how you got the country. So, like, why are you looking at us like we crazy? Like,
that's a good point.
This is something that you guys taught us, you know? So, I don't know, man. Yeah. Like I said, I think that the image that we're given of Black people, even from the time we got here, man, like, it's always been like, it's really like just flat, like one dimensional thing. I'm like, that's not who we are, you know, like, and so I just wanted to create space for myself to be able to explore that and, you know, show that the more three-dimensional side of things. So.
Yeah. So how important is it to you? Like you were saying, like, was it therapeutic doing that? Like being able to create, like, and get those emotions off? Could you like just talk about that in a sense, just in creating in general, how important is like when it comes to like, it's therapeutic for creatives to like just create something to get that release.
Yeah. Like it was everything, man. Like to be able to even just like living in that moment of being emotional. And I'm thankful for my wife, like being able to have that space to be emotional, still, you know what I'm saying? And, like that was everything. And then like being able to write about it as well, it was everything. Like I needed some sort of release. 'Cause like, it was literally just sitting with me. Like I couldn't shake the feeling. Like I couldn't shake the anxiety. I couldn't shake the fear and the rage, the anger. Like I couldn't let it all go. Like it's so much at one time. And I think that, being able to create, I don't know, man. I just think that it's vital to like our existence, like in this, and especially here, like in this country, like we have to have some sort of outlet. Like if not, then
Facts.
you have, other alternatives that are probably going to land you either in jail or dead.
Right.
So having that, and even when you think about like, people talking about like the arts in like schools and like schools that are predominantly Black, like they need that because like their only other options are going to land them in a bad place. And so like having a healthy way to, just release and put all of your feelings, your emotions into something, like it's so important, man. It's so important, and I think that we learn from that. Like we learn from seeing it. So like that's a part of what is really cool about our work is that while we're working, we're gaining something by being able to express and being able to, release our emotions. But then also on the other end, when someone's watching or someone's seeing like your video or like, a piece of art or a scene in a play, like
Right.
they're learning more about the human experience as we're like,
And that's what it's all about.
yeah. And so that was the main reason we're even putting out the letter to George Floyd. That was the main reason for putting it out, was because I needed it for myself, but then I also wanted people to learn from it as well. So,
All right. So last question. I wanted to kind of just want to know like what's next for you as far as creating. What can we expect? And then two, first let you answer that one, then I'll ask you the other one.
okay, cool. So as far as creating, what's next? Well, we got some more
vlogs coming.
more living with the streeters to come. I think this time around it's going to be a lot more raw than the last time, because the last time we were still kind of getting a feel for what the purpose of our channel even was. And so now that we have clear vision on that, I think the conversations and the stuff that we cover are going to be a lot more raw and more close to home for a lot of people. As far as acting, I do plan on continuing to pursue it. Not with as much fervor as someone who, has the time and everything like that. And,
Right.
I think that as far as acting, I'll probably try to find my way into either voice acting or probably something more pure at its core, like a Broadway or something like that. Or even just doing local stuff in Charlotte. Like, I'm probably going to still keep doing that. Writing, of course. I don't know if I'll keep like putting out my work. I hadn't put out any poems since 2015, I think, when I did, or 16. Yeah, 16 when I did the poem for Alton Sterling. I hadn't put anything out, I don't think. Oh yeah, I did. I did a whole series on my IG story. I forgot about that. Anyways,
That's how we do so much content. Like, oh, I did that. I forgot I
forgot about it. Yeah, legit. So yeah, I'll probably put some more writing out and maybe kind of mix the whole video vibe into it, kind of create narrative videos and stuff like that to tell stories and stuff. Yeah. And I don't know if I'll get back into music producing. I don't know.
Deonte
I
on
don't
the
know.
beat. Boom.
I don't know.
But and then lastly, if you had to, for everybody out there that does not know you as a creative, if you had to describe yourself as a creative in one word, what would that be, or one phrase?
Dog. That's heavy.
I got to ask the good ones, man.
Jesus. If I had to describe myself as a creative in one phrase.
For those who don't know you, people watching, like, yeah.
I would probably say like I'm somebody who was created by the creator to create. Like, yeah.
Boom.
I think that's solid. Yeah.
I feel like where have we seen that? Because I feel like I've said that too.
I don't know.
Because I feel like I've said that too. Like somewhere, seen it on the internet somewhere. Yeah,
somebody said it. I don't know. Somebody probably said it before me, but that's probably what I would use to say. Because I mean, like I had even posted this on my Street View page. Like I really genuinely feel like creating is the highest form of existence because this was the first thing that God did in the scripts. Like in the beginning, He created. So like to be able to emulate that, like this is our highest form of existence. We're emulating the Father in what we do, and so
it's a book. I forget the guy's name that you should check out. I haven't read it yet, but it's upstairs. It's Jordan Rayner, I think, or whatever his name is. It's called to Create.
Okay.
And it's him talking about like God was the first creator.
Yeah.
And it's like from a creative. He's a creative. It's from a creative point of view. Just like I think that might be the next book for me to read after the next one I read. Mm-hmm. But it's like called to create, and it's like it kind of empowers that creative to feel like he exists. Yeah. Like because a lot of times in this world we feel like a duality of sorts because it's just like, what do you do? I'm creative. Like this, not like doctor, lawyer, or whatever. It's creative is a plethora of different things that you play with a whole bunch of different mediums. So that book kind of gives you kind of like empowers you that, like, the person who you serve is a creative. Right. So, yeah. So if you want to give your social media out and your YouTube channel out to the people where they can watch you and Samra do y'all thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So IG is the Deonte Streeter. Facebook Deonte Streeter. I have a Twitter, but I don't really. If you want to follow it, that's cool. I just got it because like I see these guys making cool graphics all the time, and I want to be like them. So you can follow it. I think it's at Deonte Streeter. I don't even know my own Twitter name. But yeah, look that up. And then for the YouTube, it is Living with the Streeters. We are going to be back pretty soon. Season 1's up already. We're going to be back with season 2. I don't know when, but we're going to be back with season 2, and it's going to be better than season 1. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah, man. That's me.
I appreciate you coming by, man, and dropping the gems on us. Dropping the gems, bro. Like I think y'all will really be blessed by this conversation. Like it's the first time like I've sat down with like fathers before, but it's like the first time really like diving in on like, okay, the heart, the mind, the behind the scenes of like what a father's going through, especially, nowadays, but also just like in general trying to be a creative and create as well as be a father and still, hold your morals. And I think you're doing that very well. I think you're very self-aware. As especially being 24, being a father and being self-aware because jokers, your age is selfish.
Yeah, man.
It's selfish, especially at fatherhood at that age. A lot of people are not in their homes at that age, being a father, being married and being a father, not there. So I definitely commend you on that. It's definitely good to see, black men being self-aware, definitely knowing yourself enough to, know when to pull the reins back and know when to go for it. So definitely appreciate you coming on here, man.
I appreciate you having me, dog.
Yes,
it's been dope. It's been really dope.
So be sure you guys like, subscribe, comment wherever you're listening at, be it whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, things of that nature, SoundCloud. Be sure to give this a like, follow, get it out to all your friends. My name is Drew Muzan. This was Deonte Streeter. Until next time, this was the Walk With You podcast. Peace.